All right, welcome back to part 3. As I had mentioned in the previous one, the war was starting to flicker out, and we had an election coming up. So Lincoln's re-election seemed kind of slim with so many Northerners dying in battle, and a lot of his advisors kind of suggested he postpone the election, but he refused, saying that would be the end of democracy. So at the Republican National Convention, he made sure his platform called for a constitutional amendment abolishing slavery. And as his running mate, he chose Andrew Johnson, who was a pro-war Democrat. He chose that to be his running mate to kind of balance the ticket. Democrats had nominated George McClellan. His platform was to have like an armistice, a peace conference, and made clear privately to others, like not on his official platform, that he would restore slavery. Meanwhile, Admiral Farragut won a victory at Mobile Bay. General Sherman captured Atlanta. This was in August and September. And so Lincoln ended up winning 55% of the popular vote. Those victories helped, of course, with 212 electoral votes to McClellan's 21. And the 18 states that had allowed soldiers to vote in the field definitely helped Lincoln, because 80% of them voted for Lincoln. And his being one of those persons who went out to go visit troops in the field seemed to definitely help him there. And this cemented the abolition of slavery, this election. So we have the 13th Amendment. It was 1864, approved in the Senate. January of 1865, House of Representatives, and by December of 1865, ratified by enough states to become a part of the Constitution. And it states that neither slavery nor involuntary servitude, except for punishment, will exist in the United States. So again, if someone is imprisoned, they can be forced to work. So that is the one exclusion there. And we really see the death of the Confederacy. So the re-election really meant this war was fizzling out. And Sherman was marching through Georgia after the fall of Atlanta, sort of on this path of destruction to the sea, like a 300-mile scorched earth campaign. After he captured Savannah, Georgia, he turned north and started going through South Carolina. And, the war was basically over. There was nothing the Confederacy could do at this point. And so General Lee surrendered in Virginia. And this was at Appomattox Courthouse, April 9th, 1865. War was over. The war had really taken a toll on Abraham Lincoln. He said that it had been almost too much to bear. He was weak. He was worn out. And 5 days later, April 14th, Lincoln was shot by John Wilkes Booth at Ford's Theater and died the next morning. And that's the sad note we leave this lecture off on. Next week is our very last week of class. We'll talk about Reconstruction. You'll take your final exam. We'll do a survey. And you guys are done. All right. See you then.